He thinks he was the head of Irish aviation, and his name was Hughie McGuigan. There's a poem called The Ballad of Hughie McGuigan. When I was young, I went to school in a wee place called Turkane, but they told me that Da Vinci designed the aeroplane. And the history books said Oliver and the brother Wilbur Wright, their names were on the page as the pioneers of flight. But in last week's Ireland's Own, they said it wasn't true. But 'twas a man from County Derry was the first man ever flew. His name was Hughie McGuigan, and he came from Ballinascreen. And to rise up like a bird was Hughie's boyhood dream. For when the other wains were playing on the ropes and on their swings, for Hughie he was praying to God to give him wings. And when they went to hunting for the rabbit and the fox, he was up about the mountain, talking to the ox. But when he told them of his plan, the neighbours laughed out loud. They said he was in Egypt, and his head was in the clouds. And the wife, she was affronted, and she was sitting in a draught, and there was dung about the floor, and she was always giving off. For the hens were in the cottage at the fire getting warmed, for Hughie had the 2 half doors unstrapped to every arm. Headed for the Dochel, the rooster roared and screamed, as civil aviation was born in Ballinascreen. Now the first flight it was short, for he forgot to flap. He flew right past the cart and hit the bare wall a slap. But after a fit of cursing, he straightened out the back, and out came the wooden feathers, and he headed for the stack. Like Icarus the Greek, he was destined for the sun. But the legs were getting weight for the doors, they weighed a ton. And the second flight it was shorter. It was like a wounded sparrow. The sow went running squealing as he collided with the barrow. Now when he came off the crutches, all warnings were ignored, and Hughie took his flying dream back to the drawing board. And as the candle it got duller, the days they got brighter. The weight was in the wood, he needed something lighter. So he bought a pile of geese and ducks and drakes in Draper's Town. And sure when they lost a feather, it never hit the ground, for he was that determined to better his design. The farmyard it was shining, not a stick, nor twig, nor twine. But the wife she was complaining of her neck and of her head, for Hughie had the pillows stripped off the iron bed. He was robbing robin's nests and every feather he could get. The sow, and every feather he could get. The hay was lying rotten, and the farm got into debt. For he fiddled and he footered and he hammered and he nailed. And in the stable, on the table, he made himself a tail. He shaped it like a fan, and it was light and it was strong. It was 6 or 7 feet in length, and as broad as it was long. And the country people gathered from Moneyneenah to the Plum, as Hughie took his tail and he tied it to his bum. With a lovely pair of wings, for the half doors they were cracked. The half doors they were cracked. Now the wife was standing crying, Hughie, when will you be back? Now the rooster didn't know him, for he was feathered, he was tarred. He was strutting about, he was like a bloody peacock as he strutted about the yard. And the neighbours now looked up to him, up the steps beside the barn, as he viewed the lovely sperrin from Sleep Gullion to the cairn. Now Hughie gave the tail a wag, as he bended at the knees and lifting up the wings a bit. He waited for the breeze, and by God this time he flew. He was floating on the air, fluttering like a butterfly, darting here and there, swooping like a swallow and sweeping like a swift. The thorns were getting nearer, for he didn't have the lift. But Hughie was delighted, aye, he was on a high. When they dragged him from the holly bush, didn't it tell yous I could fly? Well, that was years and years ago, but never written down. And Hughie is our hero here in Draper's Town. And that is why we drink so much. We're still in celebration of his humble contribution to civil aviation. Now when next you're on a plane and they smile like Mr. Sheen, tell them painted ladies of the man from Ballinascreen, and tell the pilot too, before he touches down, if it wasn't for Hughie McGuigan, he'd never have got off the ground.